created to have some fun together, sharing and singing. So, join and enjoy.
Our love for opera brings us together. Thanks for being with us in this trip.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us for another program. And before we share with you what is it that we are actually talking about today, you know that we like to start with music, and that's what we are about to do, or more exactly, what I am about to do. And I was just telling Katia that I don't deserve to be forgiven because I haven't sung any zarzuela in this series, and I really love zarzuela. For people who have gone through this channel may have already noticed that I have a good number of zarzuelas in there. And so that's what I was thinking for today. And let me recall you that Luisa Fernanda is one of the most popular zarzuelas. And in fact, it's one of the very few that have had been represented in Mexico, and of which I have a very nice memory of, not only for Pepita Emil, the mother of Plácido Domingo, who brought many of those great zarzuelas to Mexico, but also because Luisa Fernanda is the one that I ever saw on stage. And if you're thinking that I am about to sing the tenor's romanza of this zarzuela, let me tell you that you are wrong, because this cute, very nice, brief piece of music is called El Saboyano. It's an habanera. It's how it's actually opening the singing part. And I fell in love with it because of that very first representation that I saw on stage. And somehow the lyrics of this song tell you or give you a hint of what is about to happen. It is usually sung by anybody who wants to sing it. I have heard it on male teenager voices, which I think is the best. And I have also heard it in tenor voices and sometimes in mezzos. So if anyone can sing it, why shouldn't I? So, since there is no music in the background, I will try to find a piece of it because I think that it would be very interesting for you if you could hear it. But now let's do that. Let's not play the music because it's already 3 minutes and I can't stop talking. let me sing for you a piece of this very beautiful riff, cute song that is called El Saboyano. Marchaba el soldadito cuando el mozo le salió a despedir la moza que la amaba y que quería con él partir. Anda con Dios, soldadito, que a las banderas te vas. Yo te prometo y te anuncio que vas a ser general. Y el soldadito le contestaba: paloma mía, yo he de volver, y en nuestra boda serán mis arras los entorchados de brigadier. Y ella se queda sobre un ribazo con el pañuelo diciendo adiós. La prometida del soldadito hasta que apenas se ven los dos. No vuelve el soldadito ya, 10 años que del pueblo salió. No cumple a la mocita la palabra que le empeñó. Y ella le aguarda pensando que si no ha vuelto es quizá para venir con la faja de capitán general. Y el soldadito no la contesta cuando le escribe cartas de amor. Y ella está triste, la pobrecita, porque sospechan que se murió. Quien le dijera que el soldadito sueña en los brazos de otra mujer. Y que en su boda fueron las arras, los entorchados de brigadier. Bueno, esa fue la hermosísima pieza Marchaba el Soldadito, conocida más bien como el saboyano. And I don't know why I'm speaking Spanish when I should be speaking English. So if you please forgive me, maybe because since I sang in Spanish, I went all, and that proves our first point for today, because today's topic is nobody's perfect. So,
Me.
but Katya, we are about to say that, right? And as you may have already noticed, I spoke in Spanish and I couldn't keep my mind focused on the English language. So let's get started. First thing, I have a good number of cases when the singer is not perfect. So this time we will not give 2 minutes to each, because really we have too much ground to cover. Katya not because she's perfect, but the other singers who need to correct their mistakes really need to talk about it. And it is very, I don't know how to say, why should we be speaking of people not being perfect when we know that nobody's perfect? So if we know that nobody's perfect, why are we expecting our dearest singers to be? Because we praise them for all the nice things that they do, but whenever they fail, we jump into them like tigers who want to devour their praise. So, first one, Katya, look at this one. Voice with no vibrato. Voice that is too white, that has no vibrato at all. What would you like to share us?
Well, I think that vibrato is an acquired skill. It comes to you when you develop a good vocal technique. You don't have to have a vibrato that can be used with a cappuccino. And it has to do also with styles. For example, in some pieces from Baroque period, you have to sing without vibrato. And you don't have to abuse of vibrato either. But it is desirable to have a right vibrato. I don't imagine for example, this area I'm about to speak in a few minutes, O mio bambino caro, vibrating. O mio bambino caro, mi piace. It sounds weird.
And I would like to mention something else. We have, well, not Katya, but me, the rest of the world that is not perfect. We have our own mistakes, errors, technical difficulties, our own. But when we try to replicate another person's problem, like this one, trying to put your voice with no vibrato, it can even be difficult for us, because since you are used to vibrate, as you perfectly said, it is an acquired skill. So you have been training and rehearsing for years to sing properly with the vibrato, right? So now that you're trying to sing with no vibrato, it's like, oh, and how is that done? But
It feels like something holding my throat. It's weird.
yeah, but there are singers, and by the way, I am putting on the screen a meme because I think there is no better way to have fun today than keeping a meme on it, because we usually see ourselves like very fierce, like very powerful, and people look at us like little chickens. I'm going to leave it on the screen for most of the program. But it is a problem when you find a very white voice and it's trying to sing with no or very poor vibrato, and they are trying to sing, for example, Oscar, from Un ballo in maschera, Oscar Losa, or something like that. It just doesn't make
Oscar Losa
no
Manuel.
something like that. And there are voices who have it on the stage and do it. So if you're one of those voices, please forgive us. But it is true that shouldn't happen on stage. The second one, there is another that I had mentioned with you when we were preparing the program. Let me see if I can explain it. You are told to sing a song like "Que gelida manina," and the tenor goes like "Que gelida manina," like before attacking the proper note, like taking it a little lower with softer voice, not properly impostated, and then going for all the volume, which gives a horrible effect.
Yeah, it's kind of making a crescendo in each note, and it's exhausting to be heard.
Yeah, because it's not an ornament of the piece, it's insecurity or the wrong impostation of the singer. So instead of and even worse, when singers like to do it a lot in the high notes. Instead of attacking it full, they take it lower volume, not properly in the impostation, and I don't know, think of any famous aria or song. I was just thinking of Rusalka's Song to the Moon. At the end it has an A, if I remember well. Most of singers do not go full voice. They go like pianissimi, and if they hit the note, they increase the volume and vanishes afterwards. Please don't do that. If you don't have the note, I would recommend
just sing another one.
Sing another piece when you feel comfortable, right?
Perhaps you may sing Voy que Zapete.
Maybe, but do it well, because in Voy que Zapete, you may be doing something else wrong, right? But I'm going to mention now one that is going to be of your favorites. Sopranos going for that high note, but do not sing it like a note. We were mentioning that they sound like a cat, instead of
Yeah.
Can you think of a couple of examples?
I really don't want to try to sample it.
Let's just forget it.
No.
And I think the advice is the same as in the previous comment. If you don't have that high note, if you cannot keep it a reasonable amount of time with a good color, well sustained, right?
If you don't feel comfortable with it, please don't use it.
Because I don't think anybody has mentioned that to you before, but if the audience, the public realizes that you're having trouble with that note, they suffer because they feel like you will be breaking it when you reach the end of Lucia. People are desperate at their seats because they know that you may break your voice. So, or if you are trying to be Calaf and you are not ready to sing Nessun Dorma at the end, even if for a tenor, depending on the type of tenor you are, the end may or not may be hard. So if you are like a light lyrical tenor, don't even try it. Vinciaro, something like Vinciaro. Vinciaro, you go for that. Let's go for another funny one. Oh my God, this is something that we had mentioned in the past before. The suffocation of the singer at the end of his aria. Instead of sounding nice, Vincero, like that, Vincero. Oh.
It feels relief when you finish your area.
But how many times have you seen a singer that finishes like that, like, and it's most tenors do that. Sopranos, some of them, but mostly tenors do that, and even baritons. Baritons do it, and they are even noisier than a tenor. Because when you think of arias like Di Provenza il mare il sol, Dio me saudi, Dio me saudi. When you rap it like saudi, very nice. You say, the baritone did it so well. But when they exaggerate, I'm Dio me saudi, Dio me saudi. Yeah. Why do fellow singers like to do that? Why don't they realize that sounds so horrible? Or am I being too tough today?
Their breaths in a better way. They should planify the breathings in the area.
I don't know. Maybe they feel like they are doing, like it is a positive, effective way of wrapping up the song. What you do if one of your students would do that?
Get away from my class. No, I think we would have to work in the right place of the voice to let your air work in the best way to approach to nice ending. Like Babo Pietà, Pietà.
Yeah.
And instead of Pietà, Pietà.
Yeah. And before we go any further, why don't we have you sing something? What is it that you're going to start singing? One of the things that I want, or one of the things that you prepared?
No, I have to choose. It's my right.
Yeah, let's say so. Yeah.
It's my voice, so I think I can choose.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get started with O mio bambino.
One of the most famous areas for a soprano. So,
O mio bambino caro, mi piace quando ricordo e se ma per farmi no
Brava. I recall a friend who, when we were younger, who told me that the only piece of opera that he liked was this aria, O mio babino caro. This was very famous a dozen years ago from a TV commercial, a TV spot for a wine. That's where he saw it. And that's when he said that that was the only piece of opera that he liked. That's what came to my
Oh,
mind.
that's so sad.
That's so unfair.
It is.
It is. Okay, let's go for another one. I have two ones that are very close. The ingolated voice. We mentioned that uh, in the myths and facts when they said that opera singers sang ingolated. We clarified that it is in fact a matter of technique, the impostation. But we also mentioned that it is true that there are many singers that sing ingolated, which is something that I'm going to let me see if I can do that. Where can I do? Oh, yes, I know which one. You know La Calunnia from Il Barbiere di Siviglia, right? La calunnia è un venticello. Of course, my voice is not of a bass, but and in fact, it happens much more with medium and low voices, which mean basses and baritones. So their natural voice, which will be la calunnia, if the bass that does not feel very secure and wants to project or make his voice sound wider than it actually is, the singer may have the mistake, commit the mistake of ingolating the voice, and instead of la calunnia, he may say something like la calunnia, something like that. That sounds like a cave, very weird.
You did a great job.
Yeah, like a deformed voice. Just take the same example for the other tesituras. And so when the voice of the singer is not natural singing, there is one way of finding out if they are ingolating instead of impostating. And it is that they have problems to change from low, medium, and upper register. Since they don't have the right position, and he felt saying la calumnia, when he tries to go higher, the same technique of having like inflated the voice will not work. So when he goes for the high notes of the bass, he will just not do it. And what he will do is actually yell. Because people try to compensate a high note with volume, like yelling. That is another way of finding out if a person has the voice properly impostated or is actually ingolating. Would you like to add something?
Yes, I think that is a common mistake. I don't know if we are gonna talk about this later, but I don't think so. It has to do with the misunderstanding of volume or intensity resonance. When you have a right impostation, you don't have to think about your volume. You're gonna sound. You don't have to yell. I mean, if you are using this, your voice is gonna sound. It has a projection, and you don't have to do weird things.
But it happens, and the next one is another one very close to that. Close but different, because it is what I'm going to call strangled voice. Instead, and I am pretty sure you have taught to your students this 1,000 times, it's difficult to explain, but you have to. I will try to explain it, and I know you will correct me because I am not very good at explaining. Proof that you are a professor and I am not, so you are better at explaining that. You have to sing with your voice open, but open means that it is not blocked inside the vocal cavity. right? That it
Yeah.
resonates
Yeah.
properly. But people think that it's the opposite, which is another error, which is sing with voce aperta, which is a different mistake. It is different, but when people are singing with a strangled voice, they instead like oh mio, like the oh mio bambino caro, instead of going oh mio bambino, go like oh mio, like, and you feel that the voice is strangled here somewhere around the throat. But tell us a little more about that in your experiences teaching students.
Yeah, I think it has to do with lots of things, and one of that is fear. You don't have you don't want to hurt your voice. You don't want to hurt yourself, and then you cover a lot. But there are lots of ways to cover your sound. A wide an open voice might sound like and that's in my throat. It's open, but in my throat. And it's terrible. And then you try to cover and you send your sound too much to your back. Oh, but it loses bright and loses clarified, and it's hard to know what you're singing. Is it an A? Is it an O? What is it? So you have to cover in a better place where it hits right, it's comfortable, and it's clear which vowel you're singing. It's not the same.
And this
So
one,
it's hard to find all the middle points in all the resources you're using to sing properly. But it's possible, of course.
because now that you mentioned it, we should also talk about the open voice, that voce aperta, just as Judith, when you try to, I cannot do it. I cannot even try to mimic it. Yeah, that one, I cannot even do it. There are many students who are taught to sing like that. And you notice, because when they try to attack a role proper for their voice, they immediately, I don't know how you say that, you crack the notes, because it's impossible to control it here. You can't do that. But there are many singers that still do it.
Well, that's not my problem.
Okay, let's go for another example. Let's go for... and this is a mistake that is very common. I called it insufficient pasta for a heavier role. I mean, you're a young tenor, and because you sing Que gelida manina fairly well, and because you have that high C, then you suddenly feel Radames. and I don't want to give names of famous recent singers who are still active, because I
Just
don't want...
think of me singing La Banera.
just think of a white voice singing something that is not adequate for you. And,
no, please no.
but they do, and there are many singers that I insist, I don't want to give name of. Many people have laughed at them because, and I was just thinking of a very famous one, that he thought that because he had high notes, he could sing Otello. Oh my Lord. There are very few singers in the world who can actually sing Otello. He said, what is the problem with the opening area? The problem with the opening area of Otello is that you need to have a huge voice, you know. And if you don't have that powerful voice that vibrates, yeah, you sound like Nemorino singing Esultate. So.
That's terrible.
And we have the opposite. We have heavier voices trying to sing lighter roles.
Well, you always want to sing Olympia.
And I can do it to perfection, of course. But on stage, you find a voice that is heavy, really heavy. We have the opposite, very heavy voices trying to sing Rodolfo, and that really doesn't work. So instead of singing a
Yeah.
beautiful "Que gelida manina," you hear a voice like "Que instead of singing love like he's mad at, at his lover, and that's
And
not.
it's really important to be wise enough and honest to ourselves to listen and say, okay, this is not for me. It doesn't fit to me. Bye. But there are lots of music you can sing.
Yeah, and now that we talked about why don't we go for a very beautiful piece of music? Now again from Luisa Fernanda, and there is something that very few people know about, or many people have not paid attention to that, and it is that the baritones in the zarzuela take the best songs, and that is not fair. Not fair for a tenor at least, because the baritone takes the best pieces, so that just doesn't work. But one of the characteristics of the baritones in zarzuela are that they are, if I could say it like that, high baritones. They are not like Verdian baritones. They are like high, almost like tenors. And that is the reason why many tenors have sung the baritone pieces. They are the best pieces, and they are high enough for a tenor to sing them comfortably. And tenors usually envy that. So that could be the full explanation of why that actually happens. And from that very lovely role, which is called Vidal Hernando in the same zarzuela, there is a duet with actually Luisa Fernanda, who, if you have seen the whole Luisa Fernanda, at this point you are already very mad at Luisa because she doesn't take Vidal. They are about to get married, but at the end she chooses the tenor. But who can blame her for choosing the tenor? Any mezzo or soprano could do that, so let's not blame Luisa Fernanda for that. They never keep the baritone, let's be fair. But the nice thing about it is that Vidal Hernando is a very beautiful character to portray. He has very beautiful melodies. He has 3 or 4 melodies, if I remember well, and the tenor only has one, and it is not very beautiful from my perspective. So from that, this is a duet of which I will sing only 2 small pieces, because I feel that these melodies are amazingly great from my perspective. The duet, it's their first duet called En mi tierra extremeña. And in this duet, what Vidal Hernando says is that from the love of a peasant for a woman, and how from his perspective he can love this woman. I already spoiled the ending because I told you that Luisa doesn't keep him despite he's the best for her, and I insist, I know, a mezzo or a soprano choosing a tenor, of course, that's what was about, that was meant to be, right? So let me sing a piece of that. En mi tierra extremeña tengo nido de amores, entre encinas bizarras y castaños y robles, donde el pájaro quiere que una pájara venga para ser soberana de mi casa labriega. Right after that comes the part of the soprano, or a mezzo, which is usually the role sung by Luisa Fernanda. But what I also wanted to share with you is the very ending of this duet. Right after that, when she says, "Oh no, I'm not choosing you. I'm already in love with someone else." Let me go for that part. Mejores días aguardaré
tardes yo vendré. Montaza de mis montes, relicario de mis sueños, de la feria de Trujillo, te he traído un aderezo, te he traído un aderezo, como piden las personas, de corales y de perlas, lo mismito que tu boca. Yo es que la quiero con un querer tan hondo, no hay esperanza para este amor. Luisa Fernanda, los hombres de mi tierra cuando quieren no pierden la esperanza de triunfar. ¡Ay, montaza de mis montes, amapola de mis trigos, relicario de mis sueños, manantial de mi cariño, no se duelen mis amores del desdén con que los tratas, para un río de desdenes tengo un puente de esperanzas.
So that would be part of the duet. I especially like the ending for Para un río de desdenes tengo un puente de esperanza. If I ever had a chance of singing the whole role of Vidal Hernando, of course I would do. If ever. If not, I would just go for the poor piece of the tenor in that zarzuela.